When we see blue smoke come out of the tailpipe during startup, it's a high likelihood that the valve guide seals have gone bad. So we got some new seals with us today, and that's going to be our first place of attack. Welcome back, I'm Alex, and we're going to get our paws a little bit dirty today because we have a 5.7 liter HEMI with us that is burning or consuming oil at an aggressive rate. And we might do a little bit of diagnostic work, see what could cause such an issue, as well as attempting to fix the issue, which is a somewhat common problem with higher mileage HEMIs. This is my good friend's HEMI engine, and it's got about 140,000 miles on it. Since he bought it a couple years ago, it had always sort of burned a little bit of oil, but recently it is starting to consume a lot more. He says anywhere from 2 to 3 liters or quarts between oil changes. Oil consumption on these HEMI engines as the mileage gets higher, like I mentioned, is not an uncommon issue. And the first place I would start if your engine is starting to consume a little bit of oil is your PCV valve. Those things have been known to go bad, and it's a pretty easy fix, a great place to start. We'll get your peepers all up in here. So the PCV valve is located right here. It is this thing. I'll pull her out for you. Now, like I mentioned, this one is pretty new. And what you want to look for is any gunk at the bottom of this thing. And as I mentioned, this thing looks pretty darn good. So we'll put that back. So we know that our PC valve is good. Another thing that Colton has gone ahead and done is we have a catch can installed. So the PCV system, in theory, should not be burning any oil or much oil through the engine. And in fact, he's checked this pretty regularly, and he says that the oil that he catches in his catch can is pretty much on spec with what the HEMI engine should be burning or putting through the PCV valve. So that is good in my eyes. But like I mentioned, if you are burning oil, that would be the first place I would check. Fellas, today's video is brought to you by AMSOIL. If you're looking for oil, you can become one of my preferred customers and get 25% off your first purchase. That link will be down in the description. Lastly, 85% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. I get it, it's all good. But if you like stuff like this, please consider subscribing. It helps me out and it helps the channel out. Another thing Colton did was use some thicker weight oil. So this engine calls for 5W20. He used 5W30. He said it didn't really make much of a difference, so he's back to 5W20. Some people have some luck with switching to a thicker weight oil, but ultimately you gotta remember that it's a band-aid to the problem. It's not gonna fix the problem going with a thicker weight oil. Another thing of note is we are seeing a lot of blue smoke when this engine fires up. Typically, blue smoke means that we are burning oil. One thing, however, we're not seeing blue smoke under heavy acceleration. And usually that indicates that our rings are not necessarily bad. However, we still might slap a compression tester on this engine just to double check that. When we see blue smoke come out of the tailpipe during startup, it's a high likelihood that the valve guide seals have gone bad. So we got some new seals with us today, and that's gonna be our first place of attack. I do also have a little bit of a theory as to which valve seals have probably gone bad, something potentially to do with the MDS system or the cylinder deactivation technology, but I'll tell you when we get more into this engine. We'll see if that's correct or not. Now, as a diesel mechanic, I don't really do spark plugs too much, but was always told, make sure you do them by hand. Last thing you want is to snap a spark plug in the head. That's one way to ruin your day. I thought they'd be a little bit more fouled for sure with the oil getting burnt, but again, I'm a diesel mechanic, all right? These spark plug things, who knows what these things are for. This side We got the valve cover off, which was a pain. Now we got to pull the spark plugs out. And I pulled an audible, boys. We're gonna go through the wheel well. Look at all the space we got up in here. I think that's the way to go. What else did I want to show you? Oh, this side has already been replaced with new valve guides. These are not OEM valve guides. So it's interesting that someone would only do the right bank. Well, we'll pull the spark plugs and we'll see what we see. I have a sneaky suspicion that these valve guides are the one that are leaking, because spark plugs we pulled out of this side, to me, look pretty decent. Now, again, folks, I'm just a lame old diesel mechanic, so I don't really know the spark plug game, but from these eyes, it looked okay. Oh yeah, you boys see that's the first plug I've pulled on the driver's side. She looks nasty. I think we found what's probably going on with this HEMI, why she's burning oil. It's probably the driver's side bank. Well, at least with the first plug we pulled. We got our plugs in. Let's talk about that theory I had involving the MDS system, and I think it's actually incorrect. But, so this is the front of our engine here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the MDS system deactivates cylinder 1, cylinder 4, cylinder 6, and cylinder 8. But if you look at our spark plug, just based upon oil residue, you can see that, well, on cylinder 4 here, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Cylinder 6 looks pretty good as well. Not really too much residue. Whereas cylinder 8, which actually is not an MDS cylinder, on this bank is the worst looking plugs. Now, on the driver's side bank, as we've talked about, it's a completely different story. Every single plug on here is full of oil. You know, it's not what I'm going to say horrible, but it is very obvious that there's oil burning in these cylinders. So my theory of the MDS system causing valve guide seals to fail is, at least in this circumstance, probably not correct. Just so we don't get too ahead of ourselves, what exactly is a valve guide seal? Well, it's this thing right here, but let me show you what it actually looks like on an engine and what it does, for those of you guys who aren't really aware. So what are we looking at? So this is the passenger side bank. So this is our intake valves here. This is our exhaust valves here. So on our front exhaust valve, I've taken the spring off. You can see that seal that I showed you is sitting right here. And what it does is it prevents oil from dripping down this valve and essentially going into your combustion chamber and then getting burned up. So what is happening with this engine, I'm pretty sure on the driver's side, is that the seals have gone bad, maybe even these ones as well, although they feel pretty tight. Oil is getting past these seals, dripping down the valves and getting into the combustion chamber, and that's where we're burning oil, especially on startup. So that's what a valve guide seal does, and that is what can wear out on these HEMI engines as they gain mileage. And so my theory that the MDS system was causing these little valve guide seals to fail is that, well, cylinder 1, 4, 6, and 7, they are the MDS cylinders. And I thought maybe that when those cylinders get shut down, both valves, intake and exhaust, are closed. So when the piston comes down, it's gonna create a vacuum. And I thought maybe that vacuum over time was gonna damage these seals. And that was sort of what I was thinking, that maybe that's why these HEMI engines after higher mileage are starting to see these valve guide seals fail. Let me know what you guys think about that. It's an interesting concept. Am I completely wrong, or could I be on to something here? Should be able to grab our spring. Well, folks, I think we found the culprit. Apologize about the probably poor lighting. So this is our number 1 exhaust valve, and you can see we just pulled the spring off. Our seal is just floating. It should be down there. These are the aftermarket seals. For whatever reason, they're just popped off. So no wonder this engine was burning oil. It is what it is. This is what a good valve guide seal looks like. This is what was on the passenger side. You can see that the seals are still seated in place and they're not popped up. Here's the seal that I just pulled out, and here's the new seal that we're putting back in. Here's the OEM that I pulled off. It looks like this opening is a little bit larger than what's going in, and even the OEM, now that's all bent up, but yeah, it's interesting how this looks a little bit larger and didn't seat at all. We're on our last cylinder here, and well, every single valve guide seal was like this, popped up and not doing much, which is interesting, but at least we know we did diagnose the correct problem. Definitely the valve guide seals were the issue here. Well, today is a new day. We got most of the hard part over with yesterday afternoon. We got our rocker arm assemblies all torqued to spec back in. We rotated the engine about 4 times. Looks like everything is working how it should. I'm gonna rotate it again this morning, just double check on that. And then basically we just gotta put her back together. As you saw, the engine rotates nice and freely, nothing's binding up, which is a good sign. We got our new valve springs in, we got our new valve guide seals in. Next up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some new spark plugs in. As you guys saw earlier, the spark plugs that were in this engine, especially the driver's side, well, fellas, hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of shop time, a little bit of wrenching on the channel. And if you guys do have a 5.7 liter Hemi that is burning oil, especially on startup, it is highly likely that the valve guide seals have deteriorated, failed, what have you. You saw on this truck, someone had replaced the driver's side seals and I guess didn't really do a good job, or the aftermarket seals they used were no good. If you did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you like cool stuff like this, don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you on board. If you want to help support the channel, you can become one of my preferred members at amsoil.com and get 25% off your first order. But with that, enough of me. We'll see you on the next freaking video.